Welcome to the Far Side channel. This is our series of business owner interviews. Today I am talking to Phumla Motsa of Remote Ergonomics. Phumla has worked as an OT since 2017 and has helped lots of people with their ergonomics, but now she has opened a little side business where she focuses on doing that. So, Phumla, hi. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. I've been practicing OT since for almost 20 years.
Oh my goodness, so just your own practice since 2017.
Yeah, yes.
Amazing. Yeah, so
I'm
you
pretty
really know
old.
your stuff. You do not look that old. I'm going to tell you right now, you do not look like you have been practicing for 20 years. So good for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Oh, such a pleasure. So tell me more about remote ergonomics and why you started focusing so much on ergonomics.
So remote ergonomics is really there to help people set up their home office using the principles of ergonomics. It started right slap bam at the beginning of COVID, when I just myself started to get lots of requests or queries around shoulder, back, neck, wrist pain. And through investigation, figured that really the setup around how people were sitting was potentially the cause of it. I then stumbled across a training just to kind of go do a deep dive in ergonomics, and I went and I got further training in it, and then that training led me to lots of research around what the pandemic resulted in. So, I mean, when I started was during the pandemic, but there was actually so much literature out there that was indicating and showing what the impact of poor posture is even within that time period. And I mean, now it's even more, there's even more literature looking at it from a pre and post COVID scenario. So because I'm an occupational therapist, the home environment is it's really our domain. I mean, lots of the work we do might start in the hospital when you're working with adults, but it will always end in the home, because it's all good and well that I show you how to transfer if you're in rehab, but you need to be able to transfer and get onto the toilet or get onto your bed or get onto the car, because that's really function. And the premise of OT is function. So the home workspace is just as important as the office workspace. If you are expected to be productive and work in a seated position, then we need to make sure that those principles are adhered to. Otherwise, it results in other conditions that we really do not want.
Well, I can confirm everything you just said because I would have been one of those people who called you during the pandemic. I had major issues happen with my thumbs. Of all things, both thumbs just suddenly didn't want to work anymore. And I ended up having to go to an OT, and she basically linked that to bad posture and a bad work setup because I spend a large amount of time working on my computer and I work from home, and I hadn't set it up correctly. In the pandemic, we weren't in our normal office environment, so I was working a lot in bed, on my laptop, or on a couch or something, and yeah, it just cascaded to the point that I actually wasn't able to use my hands for 2 months. Well, I mean, not completely because you can't not use your hands completely, but I couldn't really type or write or anything that involved pressure on the thumb for 2 months.
Right. And I mean, the thumb is your opposition. So basically use it for absolutely everything. And how frustrating was that?
Oh, my word. I was so frustrated in so many ways because, personally, you feel like an idiot when there's such a simple thing that you could have avoided. To have this big thing, and it's painful, and you're not sleeping properly, which makes me particularly grumpy. I need my sleep. And yeah, important. My work is important to me, so the fact that I wasn't able to do it was really frustrating, and it was such a simple thing to avoid. It was so simple. So, and I mean, that is why when I heard what you do, I thought you have to be on here, you have to be telling other business owners how important this is, how important it is to have their whether
Right,
it's at an office or at home, to have their ergonomics set up
right.
correctly.
And I think also at Tamryn, because we are business owners, like you not working, you can quantify how much that will cost you. Because now you're not able to generate the income. If you fall under and you've got an employer, maybe you've got a bit of cushioning there. But as solo practitioners or if you've just got your own business, yeah, it is really debilitating. And you can actually pinpoint the rand value of you not being able to type, send an email, write a report, or whatever it is that you're doing.
Exactly, exactly. It's a massive impact. And I was fortunate enough that I have a team, and I could delegate some of what I do. And we've got wonderful technology these days, voice activated technology that'll do things for you. But even with all those things, there was a lot that I couldn't do, and it was a big impact and a
Yeah,
big adjustment for me. So,
yeah.
but you learn
It's
quickly.
almost like a grieving process when you learn quickly. And the thing is that it's almost like a grieving process when you lose function, because you need to then relearn other things. And I remember I'm just picking up on what you've said. When because I originally worked for corporate, I worked for Alexander Forbes, and I left there around 2017 when I started my practice. And I used whatever. I used my son's desk. I used my laptop. Like, I was just working because I had to generate an income for my boys. And I ended up getting shoulder pain on my right. And that was so frustrating because I write reports for a living. And then I actually couldn't do that. So it's true, you learn. I had to adapt. I had to change my own work environment. So I'm preaching, but I'm a converted, I'm converted because I've also experienced it myself.
It makes a big difference when you've experienced it yourself. You're much more passionate about preaching to people, that's for sure. So tell me a little bit more about what you offer business owners. What do you do in terms of helping them fix this situation?
So what I found works really well is doing virtual assessments. So if a business owner is struggling with, the things we've spoken about between the neck, wrist, and pain, and they're seeing that their productivity is being impacted, we set up an appointment and we do a virtual assessment, like me and you talking now, without the virtual background, so that I can see what's going on. I need like 1 or 2 photos so that I can angle and I can see what your positioning is. We do measurements together, which I absolutely prefer, because if you can get down and measure from the desk to the floor, I can walk you through what it's supposed to be like. And what I find is that as business owners, we're changing positions. So if I can teach you what to look out for, wherever you're sitting, it will work. So the general process, it would be an hour session. I would cue you in terms of what measurements you need to take. I put them into my system, and then it pulls out a report for us so we can see where the red flags are, because there's basically like ratios. So if you're this tall, then there should be about this ratio between your trunk and your shoulders, for example. And so if there's misalignment, we can pick it up. And then we can fix it right there and then. If you've got the basic equipment, that is, I must say, if you've got the basic, then you would pull your chair. I would demonstrate where the levers are so you can take it up or down or sideways or whatever it is that we need. So that after that hour or hour and a half, you're basically set up to sit optimally. If you don't have the right equipment and you're using your dining room chair and you don't want to invest in new equipment, which is a reality that some of us are facing, then we can also dress a chair. So I would take you through how to dress a dining room typical chair to make it a little bit more comfortable for you, and give you tips on how to sit and how long to sit for. And all of those things are really, 1, to improve your productivity as you're working, and 2, to decrease any risk associated with the conditions because of the pain, the mood. It becomes like a whole vicious circle. So what we're doing is really preventing those things from happening. And so it's an hour and a half commitment from you. I do ask that business owners do not answer emails while we're on our session, and really just look at that time as self-care, as for yourself, to get your office environment to be a place that you can thrive in, and really just enjoy your sitting area as much as you can.
I think it's a wonderful service, and I think it's such a simple thing, an hour and a half of your time, and you can fix a situation that could potentially lead you to pain and frustration and sleepless nights and a huge amount of grumpiness. So I think that's an amazing solution. So tell me, where can people find you? If they watch this video and they go, oh yes, I want that hour and a half, what do they need to do?
So I can give you the number. It's 010-055-3617. So that's 010-055-3617. Our website is also up. It's www.remoteergonomics.co.za. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, just type in Phumla Motsa, Remote Ergonomics, and you'll see me there. Then you can DM me. That's probably actually the easiest way if you are a LinkedIn person. I'm also on Instagram though, and my handle on Instagram is remote_ergonomics. So basically all the platforms you can find me, mainly LinkedIn, Instagram, website, or you can just give us a call and we can set something up.
Fantastic. I will put all that information underneath the link, underneath the video with links, so it'll be easy to find you. And yeah, I think other than actually, I do have one question because you said if you have the basic
Sure.
equipment, what do you consider the basic equipment?
So the basic is a chair that is an office type of chair. So when we say that, there's three things that we look at. Your armrests. So if you look at your chair now, if you're sitting and there, if your armrest, if you can press the button and it can go up and down, that's one thing that we look for in a chair. The second thing in the chair is if you take your hand and you go to the right side, there should be a lever. Your chair should be able to go up and down. And then the third thing is the backrest. It should be able to go forwards and backwards. Those three things are really basic for any chair. If you don't have an armrest, it's okay. We can work around it. But those three things is what we basically really look at as essential for a chair. Then the other thing is to have a computer. If you have a laptop, what we also consider basic is a laptop razor. So you can take it up, an external keyboard and an external mouse. If you're using a desktop, then you don't need to worry about that. So it's a chair, it's a razor, and an external mouse and keyboard. Those are our basic things, and obviously a desk. Otherwise, you're typing in the air.
Yeah, that doesn't help anybody. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Then we can play around with. Sorry.
No, not a problem. But think about it, my feed is a bit delayed, so I talk over you every now and then. I'm so sorry. But no, I really am grateful for this chat. I think it's a really useful thing. If anyone is watching and wondering why on earth we would be talking about ergonomics, I can tell you, you need to consider your ergonomics because if you don't, it will impact on you at some stage. I don't know if it's a case for everyone. I don't know in your experience from life you get certain age groups, but definitely this happened to me in my late 30s. I'm now 40. And I don't know if it was just my body just not being happy with the fact that I've abused it for so many years, or if it was a particularly bad sitting situation. But I can promise you as a business owner, if you do not have your desk set up correctly, you are going to regret it. So give Phumla a call and get your ergonomics done properly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
So another thing that people often miss out on is if you are working from home, I think it's at best because you can set up your environment using sensory profile. So what we mean by that is people have got different levels of thresholds for smell, for eyesight, like the colors that you see, and all of these might stimulate you in different ways. So if it's a home setup, we can also tap into your sensory profile so that you can be more productive in your workspace. So some occupational therapists focus on sensory profiling, and it links up really nicely with ergonomics. So, you know, if people are interested in, I don't provide that, but I can always send you the details of an occupational therapist who does that. But it really helps so that it's like innately, however you or whatever works for you from a productivity point of view, we can incorporate that. But if you're working in an office, we might not be able to because your sensory profile might clash with the person next to you. But if you are in a home environment, absolutely, you can take advantage of that, because then it will help you to be more productive in what you do.
That is amazing. I didn't even know that that was a thing. That is amazing.
It is the thing, mainly with children. Like anytime you have kiddies, right, who go for occupational therapy, they do lots of sensory input to help modulate, for them to increase their tone, for them to be able to sit and write better and concentrate in class. So there's a new field, or a new work field in adults. So now we're using those same principles that we use in our kiddies for adults.
That is so cool. I love it. I think that is such an amazing thing.
Yeah, just thought to add that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Phumla, for everything you've shared today. I think it's been extremely useful. And I'm sure that anyone watching will find it useful as well. And hopefully they will reach out to you and change their lives for the better.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Such a pleasure.